Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Woodbine Mohawk Park here in Campbellville, Ontario, as we continue to celebrate this Labor Day long weekend. And tonight is our final race card of the month of August before we get into that September program. And it's a doozy. We've got a great 12 program coming up in about 40 minutes' time under ideal conditions. And we had an early start to our big day here with the Mohawk Park Community Day, sponsored by Millar Farms and COSA. Great turnout, lots of different activities, free family fun for everybody to enjoy. And hopefully many of you have decided to stick around for what is going to be a great program here tonight. And once again, thank you to everybody that did join us here early this afternoon and that has decided to stick around for tonight's program. 15 degrees Celsius, 59 Fahrenheit, a wind that shouldn't be much of a factor, coming in from the northwest at 11 kilometers an hour. And we are on a fast track condition and expecting to see some wicked times out there. That track looks to be in tip-top shape. Headlined by a couple of Grade 1 finals, the Maple Leaf Trot, the Canadian Pacing Derby, and a fantastic stakes undercard with Simcoe, OSS Gold, some preferreds. Lots to look forward to. Chad Rosemay here with you to call the action. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in or joining us on track. Enjoy your night at the races. We've got a great program in store. Standing by in studio, the Hall of Famer Randy Waples. This has been a huge night for him in the past, and John Rallis alongside as well. They've got plenty to break down and discuss in regards to tonight's program. For me, I'm going to get you caught up with the early changes. Race number 1 starts the first of 3 Pick 5 opportunities. The early pool, guaranteed at $75,000. No changes in the opening leg. We're all clear in race 1. Second race, OSS Gold, first division for the 3-year-old Pacing Colts and Geldings. Leg 4 in the series. No changes. We're all clear in race 2. Third race, start of the early Pick 4. No changes. All clear in race number 3. Race 4, it's start of the Pick 6. It's the Grade 3 Simcoe Stakes, 3-year-old Open Trotters. Couple of changes, equipment-wise to note. Number 5, P.L. Spencer goes blinkers to blind on the 5, P.L. Spencer. And number 7, Galen Urso will add blinkers. Open to blinkers on 7, Galen Urso in that 4th race. Kickoff to the Pick 6. The other Simcoe division coming up in race number 5. We've got an overflowing field of 11 for the Grade 3 for the 3-year-old Philly Trotters. And just one change to note, it's on the 8, Roxy Hart. She'll go side rolls to open. Side rolls are removed on the 8, Roxy Hart in race 5. 6th race, starting the mid-Pick 5 wager. Fillies and Mares preferred pace, no changes, all clear. 7th race, $630,000. Grade 1 final of the Maple Leaf Trot. Number 6, Southwind Coors and 8, Chapper Craze are both pulling the shoes. Both will race barefoot over this track. So 6 and 8 pulling the shoes, going barefoot. The also eligible Logan Park, the 11 does not draw in, is scratched. 8th race, $60,000 open pace, and the start of the late Pick 5 has no changes. We're all clear. Tonight's 9th, the 2nd division of the OSS Gold for the 3-year-old Pacing Colts and Geldings and the start of the late Pick 4. Number 1, Blue Bar, has a shoe change up front, going steel to aluminum. Steel to aluminum up front on 1, Blue Bar in the 9th. 10th race, Grade 1 final of the Canadian Pacing Derby, $690,000. Just the 11, Celtic Spirit, scratched from the also eligible list, does not draw in. No other changes to note. Race 11, kicking off the late double, is clear. And the 12th and final, Jackpot High 5 is available to play. No changes in the race. The carryover, just shy of $73,000. A lot of great wagering opportunities and some of the best racing you're going to find anywhere right here at Mohawk Park tonight as the Grand Circuit is in full effect. Enjoy it, everybody. Good luck with all your wagers. Just under 40 minutes away from the first of 12 as we head downstairs. Here's Randy and John with the Saturday edition of Woodbine Racing Live.
The Woodbine Mohawk Park Racetrack is located within the traditional lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit of the Anishinaabe peoples and the Haudenosaunee, on whose traditional territory we meet. Mohawk, our namesake, is one of the Haudenosaunee nations, Kanyen-Kahaka, meaning the people of the Flint. This territory is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee to peacefully take care of the land and resources around the Great Lakes. Woodbine Entertainment is honored to care for this land, are human and equine athletes and provide a place to race responsibly that offers a meaningful way of life for thousands of Ontario families. Miigwech, Niawen, Kanaskomitten, merci, thank you.
Campbell still the best, 19 in a row. Campbell
Down the wire, Amity Chef wins the Simcoe Stakes.
He's big, he's strong, and he has got it going on. Cup 25, Canada's horse. Some beach somewhere.
Yeah, motivated on focus.
Very rough and pacing.
This is the moment. Gotta one on my opponent.
McWicked on the outside.
Gotta get it the mindset. Gotta put it in motion.
You gotta be kidding me. TCI wins the million.
Game time, bet I'm coming in clutch. No hang time, and they can't keep up. The game's on the line. Seconds
Lean
on
back, get your picture taken.
PS.
Crowning moment on Canadian soil for Bulldog Hanover.
Motivated on focus.
A late push from Confederate. It's my show. Wins the big show.
This is the moment.
Happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to another night of racing here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. And it's not just any ordinary race night. This is a big stakes night here that we've got taking place here this evening. We had some pretty good action as we saw the video before we kind of headed into this pre-show. That nice family community day that took place earlier on at Woodbine Mohawk Park here for a few hours. A lot of kids showed up. A lot of people showed up. You know, I saw some people getting some paddock tours. Saw some people, being able to get some sulky rides as well. And it was just a really fun day. And hopefully those people who stayed or enjoyed those few hours of fun are going to stick around for a jam-packed night of racing, because we've got plenty of superstars on display. We've got some great races that we're going to be covering all night long. And I'm not going to be the one covering the races on my own tonight. I've got my Hall of Fame co-host, Randy Waples. And listen, again, we spoke about it last night. You have been a part of these big nights so many times, particularly the Maple Leaf Trot, and you've won it 3 years in a row. So, I mean, this night I'm sure means a lot to you.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
And actually, my very first big stake race was the Canadian Pacing Derby. First win, that considered to be, a big race. And, so this has always been a really special night to me, especially the Maple Leaf Trot. Thank you very much, Sandpail and Rod Hughes, for that. But the the Pacing Derby, I was lucky enough to win it twice. Once very early in my career with a horse for Stu Ferlat. That was a huge thrill. Strong Clan. Stu Ferlat was one of my, big time heroes growing up. And then the last time I won it was, thank you, Doc Moore, state treasure.
It's still, I'm sure, just as you were competing, I'm sure you're having just as much fun watching some of these superstars compete as well. I mean, we got to see history last week in the elimination, obviously, the first sub-50 mile on Canadian soil, on the trot. So it's been a lot of fun, but I think we're going to piece it all together here tonight and add even more fun tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you too. And as, again, going back to as a driver way, what I kind of really does it for me is when I see like young drivers that haven't won these races yet, and they get to win them, and just, because I remember what it felt like to me, when I'd never won one before, seen all these other, these great drivers, winning these races and that, and, when you finally get that chance to compete and you get the job done there, it makes you feel pretty good. So I'm kind of rooting for, some of these first time winners.
I mean, James McDonald, we know the success that he's had over the course of the Grand Circuit, but he had a couple big moments in the Canadian Pacing Derby as well with a pair of long shots. So,
and he's won a Maple Leaf Trot too, hasn't he?
Don't recall.
I thought he won a Maple Leaf Trot too. Was it Crazy Wow or something like that?
It was, yes.
Yeah,
all right.
I think.
There
it was an upset. Yes, right. Yeah, Captain Luke, man. Yes.
33-1.
Yeah. And it was it a Burke horse? I think it was a Burke horse. Might have. Yeah.
Melander.
Melander.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. But I remember I think he got out really late with him. One of those James is hidden until about 50 feet before the wire, and then boom, he come through, and he was a winner. So he's had good luck in these races too.
Long shots even with Dorso Duro Hanover. Was it Courtly Choice, the other one as well, when he got the job done? I think both pretty good prices as well. So he's had success with some horses that maybe didn't figure. And speaking of Melander, though, I mean, he's got a nice 1-2 punch in that Maple Leaf Trot as well. But, of course, those are going to be two Grade 1 races. Of course, they're graded stakes now as of this year. So, a big opportunity for, people to pick up some marquee victories as well. We're looking forward to it, though.
Yeah, I always kind of get a little bit of a smirk on my face there, and I can't tell you exactly what he said, but it's one of the funniest moments that I ever had while a race was going on, coming around the last turn, was in the Maple Leaf Trot, and it was something that Chris Christoforou Jr. said to me halfway around the last turn, and he broke me out laughing, and every time I think about it there, it makes me smile. I can't say what he said, but trust me, it was definitely something to remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you and a Cypriot having a conversation. I don't think that's going to go
going
to
for $700,000,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden I hear this voice on my right shoulder, starting to say something there, and I'm telling him, man, he had me in tears.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I can only imagine what was said that night. But we spoke about some marquee stakes actions. Of course, we've got a great undercard. I mean, we've got plenty of other stakes to preview here tonight, and we've got some provincial action that's going to be taking place tonight as well. We had some gold action last night. Obviously, we got to see Bojangles get the job done to remain undefeated. We also got to see Naughty Delight pick up a gold victory. A nice effort by that Tony Beaton trainee as well. And we knew the speed was there, but we're going to see some speed here with some of these sophomore pacing colts as well. And we've got two divisions of OSS, gold action here. And this first division, I mean, the two morning line favorites are going to take the bulk of the support, but there's one horse in particular that you and I are really intrigued with stepping back into the gold spotlight.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be 5th and 5.
Yeah.
I think that we're both. Yeah. I mean, we both know what we're looking at, and I think that Jamesons easily know what they have, but they've taken a different kind of a route with this guy, and I think it's going to pay dividends for him. And not to mention the fact that, I mean, I don't know if they're going to keep him. Sometimes Carl will sell horses in their 4-year-old year. But if he keeps them, or if somebody else gets them, this is a Saturday night special. This is a horse that at some point will probably race right up to the Open and probably beat them too. He's just a really nice colt. And when every once in a while you get lucky and the camera will zoom right up on him, he's got the looks to go with it too. Just really, powerfully built, well put together. Obviously handy there. He can find his way through a spot that a mouse wouldn't go. Just a really, really nice horse. So be very interesting in here. And I think he's going to be in the winner's circle.
Could you ever ask for a better trip? I mean, coming back into a gold. I mean, you're sharp, putting forth some consecutive good tries. Okay, some rivals might have gotten lucky in that spot because obviously All-Star Maniac, who we'll preview later on in the card, hooked a wheel. Obviously that took him out of contention right away. But Colt was able to kind of save all that energy, just going up the inside and getting the job done. His confidence is just growing right now, and it's not like he's taking a step up. He's been here before, and he's put forth good efforts.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that you got to remember is because he hasn't been competing in the golds, he's going to be fresher than some of the other ones. Some of these other ones, when they got to race gold week in and week out, you're basically depleting all the energy out of them because it's just a really, really tough level to race, 3-year-olds at. This guy hasn't. They took the easier route with this guy, and now he's coming into the second half of this season and hasn't been hurt, in any way whatsoever. So I think that we're getting a very fresh horse, but fit and obviously very talented too. So 5th and 5, I'm really looking forward to this.
And he missed 3 weeks going into that effort, right? I mean, didn't have to leave the rails, still got the job done, and now he's coming back on regular rotation. That was the start of what was a big night for Jody and Carl Jamieson last Saturday night. But Control Rocks, I don't think one we can discount in this spot either. A tough trip last time out against older companies, against older rivals. I think he just worked out a pretty tough trip. But when this guy gets on the engine, Randy, he's pretty tough to pass. He's game.
He is, but I mean, my thinking is that if he gets on the engine, I got a pretty good feeling who's going to be on his back.
I feel pretty good about that.
That'll make it even worse, and that's the beauty with 5th and 5 too, is that Jody can race him however he wants to race him. All he has to do is just make sure, he doesn't get into any kind of a trouble situation or that, but he can go to the front. He can race him with cover. He can race him down in amongst them, as you can just see on that last replay, and he can race him first over. There's just no weaknesses with this guy. He's just a really, really nice horse that's had a very, very good job done with him.
All right, we're going to fast forward to race number 9 and touch on the second gold division that we have here. And I think, while 5th and 5 is stepping up off some sharp tries and is one that we're excited to see in race number 2, I'd say this division has the headliners in this sophomore pacing colt division. And that's primarily All-Star Maniac and Crackshot. And these are going to be the morning line favorites here in this spot. But All-Star Maniac, he's going to take a lot of support, and people are going to hope to maybe buy back some value or maybe redeem themselves. James McDonald and Nicolucci themselves as well. Just a bad spot, just bad timing to hook a wheel last time out. I mean, the Colt looked like he was raging with pace, and he was going to get the job done before it happened.
Yeah, so let's take a look at this one, and you can kind of see it happening at this point. James is making a big move, and you right here, you knew it was going to happen, and it did. And he had so much go, and at that point, Bobby's horse is, pretty much on vapors, I would have to say. In this situation, James has to go backwards, and Bobby has to go forward. And it's the only way that you get unhooked. And because Bobby's horse just didn't have much go, and James had all kinds of go, the horses weren't letting them do that. So they just got both of them dragged right to a dead stop. All-Star Maniac, like I said, in my opinion, I think he was a winner. I think he was making a big move 3 deep, and he was the winner. How James chooses to race him tonight, I'm not 100% sure. I know how I would want James to race him, you know what I mean? But I'm not the owner or the trainer of this horse. But if it was at me, I'd say, listen, when the gate says go, close your eyes and keep going. Because I think that the horse is ready for a huge effort.
Myself included. And I think that obviously Crackshot merits a lot of respect in this spot. He's returning back to Ontario after a couple of tries in Kentucky, in some Kentucky Sire Stakes action. And look, as a 2-year-old, his season really changed. He went and qualified in Kentucky for that just one qualifier, and he came back here to Ontario and put together a string of stellar performances. But he's coming off a couple of nice efforts there, and those are some tough colts, racing in Kentucky as well. So, but he's got a tough one that he's going to race here provincially as well in All-Star Maniac. I know he's not going to be in any of the gold divisions, but I like that we showed that replay as well, because there was a rival in there, Captain Hurley, that we might not get to touch on throughout the pre-show. He was pretty good in that try, one that you and I really like tonight.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Are you using him as, I got him as one of my plays.
My best bet tonight.
Yeah. I got him down as Waples Watch. Look at that. It's pretty bad for you, when you're starting to think like me. Or maybe it's good for me that I'm thinking like you.
It's bad for you because I hold a lot of weight. I might be a big anchor in that spot for you, my friend. But there's a look at the second division of the OSS Gold for 3-year-old pacing colts. And again, I mean, just the part of the undercard and what's going to consist of a lot of stakes events. And speaking of stakes events, we're going to go to the Simcoe in race number 4. And speaking of some headliners and some superstars, we're going to get a chance to see some high quality 3-year-old trotting colts here, and we've got a couple of horses exiting some Hambletonian tries. But Motocon Legacy's coming off a recent effort at Pocono in the Beal, and that was a really game second place finish to a colt who you could say is probably the best in the division right now, and that's Super Chapter.
Would you consider him to be the best?
As of right now, I think he's been the most consistent all season long.
Right. If you wouldn't say him, then who would you go to then?
I thought Nordic Catcher was going to be the one, but obviously, unfortunately his season came to an end. But I'd say it'd have to be Motocon Legacy in this spot.
So finishing second by a nose to Super Chapter, really not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing whatsoever.
Cool. All right. Well, he's going to be the way I'm going to go in here. Motocon Legacy. Got a couple of changes in here if you're interested. PL Spencer, I got him in for 4th. Stevie Boston's going to go from blinkers to a blind bridle on Spencer tonight. And Galen Urso going to go from open to a set of blinkers tonight. Going to be a little bit of a difference there, too. So at this point, I honestly thought Louis had it done. It's a 5/8 mile short stretch. I said, they won't catch him. But, boy, this horse on the outside, he just keeps coming.
Yep.
But you can say that the guy on the outside wasn't giving up, and the guy on the inside, he wasn't giving up either.
No.
So with Super Chapter not being here tonight, I think Emoticon Legacy is going to look pretty good in here, and that's where I'm going.
We saw in his handball him to Emoticon Legacy. He loves to fight off horses. I mean, it looked like he was going to be, looking for the wire, maybe halfway down the lane, but he dug in and fended off some pretty good horses. And speaking of really good horses here, we're going to take a look at Maryland, who is exiting a third place effort in the Hambletonian. A lot of hype coming into this year, though, Randy. I mean, we've seen some hype from some recent sophomore trotting colts as they geared up for their 3-year-old campaign. Maryland had a lot of hype after an O'Brien Award-winning campaign and a Dan Patch Award-winning campaign. The wins haven't followed so far, but the efforts have been good. But he's back on Canadian soil, which he's had plenty of success here as well.
Did he grow much between 2 and 3, Maryland?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't ever remember him being a small horse as a 2-year-old, but now when I see him, in that race against all those bruisers. He looks like he's maybe a little bit on the smaller side. So I wonder how much he grew. I threw him in for second. I mean, he's a dangerous horse. At some point, I mean, he's coming off the 0 list, John. He's just got too much talent. Maybe tonight, Canadian soil, rail to work with, Dexter Dunn in the bike, Marcus Melander here. You know, there's a lot to like about this guy. Maybe tonight is the night that he's finally going to get off that offer and get his first victory of the year. But he's got some toughies, and not just a Moticon Legacy too. We talked about another horse yesterday too, the horse of Benoit Bergeron's. Talk about a horse. This horse, when he left here, you could see on July the 22nd, he come up with a vicious effort in there, beating Southwind Milk and My Retirement Dream, picking up 53-1 last quarter and 27 flat. Then goes down to the States, has a third in Saratoga in the New York Sire Stakes, comes up with a win in Batavia. Now back again. His form is good. You know, he's another Chapter 7, you know, coming out of a very, very dangerous outfit and picking up James McDonald.
Big step up in class tonight, though. I mean, this is a horse who's
Huge
sharp,
step
but
up in class.
big step up taking on the likes of Maryland and Moticon Legacy. Maryland also making his first start in nearly a month, right? I mean, we haven't seen him since his start in the Hambletonian in that third place effort. You know, Marcus Melander, I think he spoke in an article I read. He said that he likely just might need a start to get himself acclimated again. But, I mean, this guy's trained up. He's going to be ready to put forth a good effort. You know, the date might help a Moticon Legacy as well, but, I mean, Moticon Legacy is a really, really sharp colt himself. So, you know, Maryland obviously going to be pointed towards that Canadian Trotting Classic, which is going to be taking place in a few weeks as well. You know, the same as a few other of these colts. I think they're all maybe looking that direction as well.
Question for you. What do you think Dexter does with Maryland? Because if you shoot the qualifier down at the from the Meadowlands, he did have the rail, and that is one of the only times that you see him make a break. Now, the other times there, he's not really leaving with them. He's got a situation here where I think that Louis is going to be coming out of there with a Moticon Legacy. Can he give him up that much room?
No, and you know what? I don't think that the rail was maybe the issue with that break in that qualifier. He just quite never looked like himself in that morning prep, and I think he proved that because he followed it up with some pretty strong performances. Yeah, they weren't winning efforts, but the colt's been racing pretty well. I think this colt's going to put forth a really good effort regardless of how he's driven, but again, you don't want to give up too many lengths to a horse who's got a better date, has a better draw. And he's a gamer. I mean, a Moticon Legacy, he's a gamer.
He is so. There's no doubt about that. Where did you go?
I went to Maryland. Just trying to, you know what, I know he's the morning line favorite. I don't know if he's going to be the favorite in this spot, though.
I don't know. I don't think he will either. I wouldn't be surprised if, Moticon Legacy didn't go off as the favorite in here. Looking
forward to race number 4, which is the Simcoe here for 3-year-old trotting colts. And the race after that is going to be the Simcoe for 3-year-old trotting fillies. And, you know, we're going from one Luke Blais trainee that we're excited to watch and highlight, and we're going to go to another one here in Lasting Dream. But the filly from the middle of the gate, our Duchess, she put forth a nice winning effort there in the Casual Breeze. And this is a filly, I mean, speaking of game horses, this filly's pretty game in the lane as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. She is, what did she do here last year? What was it, the Peaceful?
Winning her elimination in the Peaceful Way. Yeah.
And then finished, second or third in the final? Yeah, big effort for Boot and Chain. And but Susie Kerwood has it this week. You know, they're going to leave her up here with Susie. And, that's not going to hurt her chances any at all. Susie's off to a really, really good year this year. And, taking the long ship out of it, a strange situation, our Duchess is probably, absolutely, made herself at home in the Susie Kerwood camp there. I thought our Duchess really, really fought hard in that one. Lasting Dream, she's going to fight hard in this one as well. I think if there's going to be an upset in this race, it's going to be the 6-horse Bright Sealster.
Listen, a filly who's been racing really well. I mean, that was a step up even last week, taking on some, fillies like our Duchess, but she really stepped up. But a really nice effort there by Zed Athena. I mean, she made it close with our Duchess as well. Speaking of, Luke Blais trainees, again, we referenced the Lasting Dream, and, this is the effort last week in her Casual Breeze division. Wasn't able to get to Global Heritage. I mean, she got out sprinted by a filly who put forth a pretty good effort and was coming into into that race sharp as well.
Yeah, both fillies are going to race real good in this one, but we don't see Global Heritage this week. I thought Lasting Dream raced extremely well, and I'm just going to say, just from experience, when I worked for Luke and Determination Stables down in New Jersey, what his horses do in an overnight situation or an elimination usually isn't nearly what they do in the finals. That's why, a lot of times his horses kind of fly under the radar a little bit, like not hugely under the radar. These both are, well-known horses, but he comes up with big victories in the final because he just sets them up different for the final. He trains them different, he does different things with them, or he goes the exact opposite and doesn't do anything with them. He's really sharp kind of a dude, and I think that both of these horses are really going to come up with a big effort tonight.
And Lasting Dream, yes, she fell short as the big chalk, getting out-sprinted by Global Heritage, but Domenico Cecere from that night, he sent out 15 starters from that Casual Breeze Stakes event. 5 of them found the winner's circle, and he got the job done over
30%.
Yeah, he had a starter last night at the Meadowlands get the job done against Conversano, the Hambo Oaks winning filly as well. So his barn, has been sharp, and that was a filly who came in on her game and put forth a pretty good effort. Lasting Dream, though, I've gotten a chance to speak with Louis in the paddock, multiple times about this filly, and he just loves the way she feels coming into her sophomore campaign. Even when she wasn't winning earlier on this season, he loved the way she felt, coming into her sophomore campaign. So a filly who's gonna, continue to progress, I'd say, and again, one that's going to be pointed towards the Elegant Image in a few weeks as well.
Well, like I said, best of luck to them because they certainly deserve for the money they put in and the horses that they put on the track. Let us watch. Nothing but props for Determination.
Even better, it's another quality homebred that they've got, right? They've got a really nice operation brewing there.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Last time I seen this kind of happen was a Macintosh thing. Bob had that major broodmare band, and now Determination the same way. Really nice to see.
Yeah, and obviously some other fillies that are going to be stepping up here and taking on some tougher rivals, but a lot of sharp horses coming in. There might be a couple others who maybe have taken on tougher throughout their young career, but best of luck to everybody here in race number 5, which closes out the early pick 5 as well. All right, we're going to dig into some of the big features, the Grade 1 stakes, and we're going to go to race number 7, and we're going to preview the $630,000 Maple Leaf Trot Final, and we've got a field of 10 here, and we've got a couple of Burke trainees that are going to be going barefoot all around in this spot, but the pair of Marcus Melander trainees, I say the race goes through them.
Mm-hmm. Did you find anything out about Addis Kronos there?
You know what, I was obviously such a great effort as well. I just couldn't remember on Hambo Day if he raced barefoot or not. So I got a chance to catch up with Marcus Melander just before the pre-show, and he raced barefoot Hambo Day, he raced barefoot here all around last week, and he's going to go barefoot again. That's why we never saw any changes because he doesn't need to.
Right.
He raced the same like he did coming from the Meadowlands. So a nice effort by him. Just a great effort by him. Forget nice. A historic effort by him on Canadian soil here on the trotting side. We're going to take a look at this winning effort last time out. It looked like, I think Dex even said, felt like he even had a little bit left, which is amazing.
What amazed me was the fact that when Chad rattled off that they were at the 3/4 and 122 in it and a bit or whatever, I was like writing notes, and I kind of snapped my head up because at no point does he look to me like he's working at it.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I couldn't believe it when he said 122 in a bit. And I'm thinking, like, oh my God, that's track record range whenever you hear 122, on the trot. And, so he hits the wire, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, he probably just went 1:50 and change, maybe a track record. I didn't expect 49-4.
Yep.
First time in Canada, and boy, like I said, he really never showed that it was affecting him in any way.
And he added Lasix, obviously, 2 starts back, put forth a nice smile. And, Marcus Melander even cited that it just seems like he's found a little bit more here, and he's going to be the one to beat, but his stablemate's going to merit respect. You know what? He didn't get the job done in this spot, and I think we expected him to, given the trip. Mm-hmm. But, Marcus Melander also stated that he probably just needed a start, and he thinks he's going to be even sharper coming back in on a regular rotation.
You know something, John? When he comes around the top turn on that second over position, he almost kind of looks then that he just was kind of going through the motions. Didn't have that snap to him, the pizzazz that we normally see, and then we really see it in here, but all kudos to Lexus Cody, off to a phenomenal year again, and that was like a first over victory in there. That horse is amazingly good right now, but Periculum's the way that I'm going to go.
Yeah, I'm going to go Periculum's direction as well. He's gotten the best of Eidos Kronos in a few, stakes tries earlier on, but Periculum, he did race without shoes front. So he went barefoot front, and I think they're going to see how the track's playing out if they decide to go barefoot all around here in this spot, which, throughout his, season this year, he's found an extra gear when he's gone barefoot all around as well. So you could see, though, in that replay, Scotty had to pop the plugs while he was following the cover.
Yeah.
It just, he never looked engaged.
Just never looked like he was into it.
Yeah.
Not the way that we normally would see him in that situation. Normally, like you can just tell he wants to be sprung.
But again, no, to your point, take nothing away from Lexus Cody, who proved that he was, an open caliber trotter, but maybe not against Grand Circuit types. This year, he's proven that he can go with any of them. I mean, he's piecing it all together. He's always had the speed. He just kept making breaks.
Yeah, and the other thing too is I kind of like, if they're going to take on the Grand Circuit ones, I think they're better off that they race them the way they did last week, not so much front end. You know what I mean? Because when he's in just preferreds and stuff at the Meadowlands, he can wax them on the front. He gets in against the very, very best. I think he can still beat them, but he might need to do it on a trip, and that's kind of what happened last week. And even though the trip ended up being first over, you can see how he looked really, really good.
I think we have to give some props to Hill Exotic from the 9-hole, who was following Ados Kronos in that record mile. He's been racing really sharp, and that was a really nice runner-up effort by him. And Call Me Goo, first over last week, and she was off 3 weeks coming in. You have to figure she's going to be a little bit sharper here coming into this final.
Yeah, I would have to think so too. And my thing as well, I take a real serious look at the 10 horse in here, Up Your Dale. This was a good effort. I know it's the 10 hole, but we're talking Okus Fonstead. The 10 hole's not going to bother him. If he wants to leave with her, he will be leaving with her. And if he wants to race him the other way, he can race him the other way. But either way, I thought last week that was a really, really nice effort from him.
He's put forth some sneaky good efforts when you haven't expected it so far this year. So 10 hole or not, I mean, we're expecting a good effort, but you're going to need to work out a nice trip, because this is a really good group that we've got here in this, six-figure final. And we're going to move on to the Canadian Pacing Derby here. We've got another Grade 1 event here taking place on the pacing side, and really excited to watch this group go at it, Randy. I know 7-5 is the morning line favorite by the Missile, and he's coming off, he equaled the Canadian track record last time out in 1:46.4. Plug still in for Yannick Gingras, and he's been sharp the last few tries. Consistency's been his issue this year. We just don't know what version we're going to get of him. I mean, if he can keep piecing it together, he's going to be the one to beat here. But some other rivals, I'd say they merit respect too.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about that there. By the Missile, I got him in for second because technically I think that he's going to go off as the favorite. And I'm not sure if he's not the horse to beat in here. Irvin Hanover, I got him in for third. I'm not 100% sure that he's not the horse to beat in here tonight. And then I got Maximus Mickey in for fourth. I thought he raced real good in his last one, but big thing is he's picking up the money man for the second week in a row, and I like that as well. But Sabonis is the way that I'm going to go with this guy. I think this horse has been racing extremely, extremely well. He's just been getting some, unfortunate kind of trips, you know what I mean? And he's been first over in a lot of them, and I think it's starting to kind of like maybe take a little bit of a toll. Like first over in this one for a bit, and then until Louis, was able to pop out and give him a little bit of cover, but not for very long, and he just he's racing good. But he just seems to me like he's spending a lot of time on the outside. And I think, and I've seen Dexter do this many times before, every once in a while, Dexter will take the short route. And he's another guy that can find room. And if he decides that tonight is the night that he's going to go a little easier trip for Sabonis, I could see him coming up with a big effort in here. And another thing, too, that last trip, August the 23rd, I mean, he hadn't raced since August the 8th. So 15 days between trips, going a big mile like that. I'm going to take one more chance with him there. I don't think that we've seen the end of Sabonis just yet.
And this was a horse who was a little bit under the radar despite such a great resume as a 3-year-old. I mean, just winning so many races, a lot of them in Indiana. He's got a wicked late kick. I mean, I know he's been driven, first over and game in every single one of his efforts. I mean, he's gone to the front and fended off rivals from every which way. But this is a colt who can get airborne if he needs to. We just haven't seen that just yet so far as a 4-year-old. But we saw Irvin Hanover's nice win here, and let's look at By the Missile's winning performance here again. Plug still in, and I mean the body language of everybody just looks superb. This is a horse that's coming into this race as definitely the one to beat, but that was the case a couple of years ago as well. But Tattoo Artist, he wanted to spoil the party.
He did, and I mean, but personally, I don't think a couple of years ago I don't think By the Missile was as sharp then as he is now. I think this is like when we're kind of really coming into his time. By the Missile, he's going to get a good draw here to work with tonight. You got Yannick Gingras down. He's got multiple ways to race this guy if he wants to. So I think he's going to be tough, but I'm going to stick with Brett Pelling on Sabonis.
Okay.
I think that, the Pelling factor can get this guy back into the racing mood. And what I like about it too is that Dexter is sticking with him, and I like that about him. So Sabonis, the way I'm going. What about you? You went by the missile?
I went Irvin Hanover. I
Irvin
liked his
Hanover,
effort.
good
And you know
one.
what? I know Louis' comments about how this horse kind of responds to drawing the 5 or 6 hole, but the versatility with this horse I think is going to prove valuable here in this spot. And you want to talk about sharp racehorses. I mean, maybe he didn't equal a Canadian track record last time out, but this guy's coming into this stakes event razor sharp. And this is what we expected from him, Randy, when he closed out his campaign in 2024, in early December. This is the horse that we were expecting to see in 2025, and I think we're seeing it at the right time.
I agree with you. I think that he's never been any sharper than he is right now. The big thing is he's going to have to be tonight because of, by the missile and the fact that, there's a couple of entries in here. Maneri's got a couple of horses in here, but so does Per Anglum. He's got a couple in here as well. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. What about, quickly before we move on, I got to ask you about Ruthless Hanover, because I thought this horse went an incredible mile, and I'm not sure, but I think that was first time Dougie on him.
Yeah, and it was a great effort there. I mean, you could see this is a horse that loves to try and bottom out the field, but the last few tries, they've been more so off the pace approaches, and I think that boded well for him last time out. Like he was game. I mean, Louis popped the pocket early in the lane because this horse has a tendency to stop. He wasn't stopping. He was fighting tooth and nail with a really fast racehorse, which he is himself. I hate the rail draw for this particular horse. If he drew the center of the gate, he could really mix things up. But I think there's going to be a lot of horses here vying for early positioning. Speaking of poor draws, Oakwood Arden raced so well last time out to be third. The 9 hole's just killer for him in this spot.
It is, no doubt about that. But my only thing is again, his form is good.
Yep.
If they over race us, and we've seen this before many times in this race especially, because they're just loaded with talent most of the time. If they over race it at all, and he decides to race Oakwood Art in the same way that he raced him last week, this guy could come up with a big effort in here, because like John said, he was incredibly good in his last start. And we're normally used to, when he comes up here anyway, most of the time we've seen him, he's been engaged early in the race, but this is one of his best efforts up here.
Yeah, and Maximus Mickey and Coach's Corner also putting forth good efforts in their elimination. Okay, there's our look at the 2 Grade 1 stakes, but we're going to go from one pacing event to another, and this is our open pace here tonight. Look, I mean, maybe they're not competing in the Canadian Pacing Derby, but this is a really nice group of pacers here that we've got here. And the Now horse seems to be, remember, the Alamo, who's put forth nothing but good efforts here for the new connections. This was always such a really fast and talented racehorse. And, he's proven that even more so this year. I mean, he's had a sharp 2025 campaign. And it seems like he's found an extra gear here. And let's take a look at his most recent effort here on Canadian soil.
I would almost look at him as a single in the multis, John. I like him up here as well, too. And I just think that he is incredibly good right now. And even though Tarasi is racing really good and he's going to be in against him, and a Buckabed Hanover getting Dexter Dunn back, but just don't find him to be quite as sharp. But this guy is dead on good right now. Remember the Alamo. Remember that name. He's going to be my top pick in here. And Benoit setting himself up for a big evening, I think.
And you know what, we were talking about if he was paid up to the Canadian Pacing Derby. He was not, but obviously thanks to one of his co-owners, Frank Cirillo, for kind of just reminding us of that. But I spoke with Ben and I said, if he was paid up to it, would you have considered it? He said not in this particular spot, because he said, I just haven't had him long enough. But they're going to be gearing up for that Breeders' Crown. So if he can continue to put forth some pretty good efforts, this is a horse that is going to be able to compete with the top-aged pacers that we've got, in this sport. I think they got to be really excited about this guy. I mean, he's just doing it so easily.
The talent has never been in question, And now, for whatever reason, Benoit's been able to get that talent out in a consistent sort of a way. So I agree with you. I mean, the horse is sensationally good right now.
And you know what? He's getting around those turns so nicely. I remember watching him compete in the Meadowlands, and he kind of labored on that final turn, and I would get a chance to speak to, Jordan Stratton, who was driving him in those tries. And, sometimes they would have the gating pole, and sometimes they wouldn't. I think it helped him a little bit when he did have the gating pole, but I don't think they've got one on him now, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
But he's getting around smoothly. I've never seen him get around the track, with ease like that. So, we're looking forward to watching this guy compete here as well. And I'm sure the new connections are really pleased with him and excited to see what he can do the rest of the season. All right, well, there's our preview there on some of the races that are going to be taking place here on this Saturday night program. But we can't kick off the action here with the Canadian National Anthem.
That's right. We're happy to welcome back to Mohawk Park Peyton Reese. Peyton is a 15-year-old Irish-born Canadian singer-songwriter and actor from Toronto. Among her many accomplishments, she writes and publishes her own songs and starred in the award-winning Canadian movie Scarborough. These days, she can be found performing in many of the famous music venues around the GTA. She's always extremely proud to be performing here at Mohawk, a venue she considers to be a second home. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, if you are able, please rise for the singing of our national anthem. Take it away, Peyton.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Great job, Peyton. As we ready for the start of our Saturday Stakes-filled program, 12 minutes away from the opener. Here are the plays of the night.
All right, here, let's get set here as we touch on some plays of the night, Randy, and let's go with your plays board first.
Yeah, I'm at the back half of the card, John. Worth a look, race 6, Glenborough, locked in big time in her last. I'm going to get paid if she gets through the night. All in, race 9, All-Star Maniac. Beat the favorite. It's going to be Sabonis. I do not see him going off his favorite, but he's going to be my top pick in the Derby. And Waple's Watch is going to be Captain Hurley, and I think you like that one tonight too.
Absolutely, and we're going to go head-to-head on one race for sure. And I think one of my plays is going to be Grit and Grace there, but I'm going to go Beat the Fave, Dirty Little Piglet. This guy's razor sharp. I know he's taking on tougher company, but he's coming in sharp. All in, Lasting Dream there in race number 5 to close out that early pick 5. Spot play Grit and Grace in a competitive Fillies and Mares preferred. And my best bet, you and I in agreement with Captain Hurley, hoping that he can get the job done here off a troubled trip. All right, there's a look at some of our plays of the night. We've also got some resident handicappers chiming in as well. Garnet Barnsdale, Angostura, Hanover, his spot play. A lot of us going in that Fillies and Mares preferred. Doug Henwood, Grit and Grace, his deep crunch. And Ghislaine Paquette, Periculum, his rebound player. All right, there's our thoughts here as we took you through that pre-show here as we preview this stakes-filled Saturday night program. 3 pick 5s, but the $75,000 guaranteed pick 5 starts in race number 1. And we're going to get underway very shortly.